Welcome into episode number 5.
Cinco.
Well, that was like last week. Was Cinco de Mayo.
That was like a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. I guess it was.
Months ago. Cash in.
The check. I am your executive director, Tyler Asher.
And I am your deputy director, Tiffany Anton from the Biz Foundry.
Let's just jump right in and get all of our ducks in a row.
Quack, quack. Quack, quack.
They're gonna get us
Is that
some
better?
like
quack, quack.
some like automated things eventually.
People, yeah. If I'm just annoying enough with it, then they'll just start doing it. So that's the way I live my life.
Let's get some good laughter going on
Okay.
this episode. I think this is a good episode.
We're gonna
we have a ton of good content
yes,
to talk about.
Just if you're driving,
Yes.
just be careful if you're gonna laugh too hard. Just
Go ahead and pull over.
a disclaimer that we are hilarious.
I'm glad to see you think so.
I mean, somebody's got to be the cheerleader here. The deputy.
The deputy director.
I can't even.
She can't even know her own title. That's the sad part. All right, this is a good one. Boss, how can we keep the office clean?
How?
By staying at home.
This is what I want to tell my children is how we keep my house clean is by staying out of my house.
This is a good one. Oh, there was a safety meeting at work today. They asked me, what steps would you take in the event of a fire? Big ones. How do construction workers party?
Hard.
They raise the roof.
I feel like people who are just listening and cannot see that was a good roof raising a full body experience from Tyler.
This is a good one. Oh, HR. What's your biggest weakness? Me. Interviews. HR. And besides that, follow-up questions. That's a good one.
Oh,
I told y'all if you're driving, you might want to pull over.
don't be drinking your coffee while you're listening.
Oh, too funny.
All right, you got a couple more for me.
Sorry.
One more?
Some of these are just good. Like I don't want to use them all, but they're just. And then of course like technology. If at first you don't succeed, redefine success.
I feel like that could be a Jeff Brownism.
Like your football coach should play a little football, or we're gonna fly this. We're flying this plane while we're building it. I
Yeah.
think that's right.
The football coach one is definitely the
That's
most.
a Jeff,
I
like-
mean, and sometimes he throws me off and he'll say, your soccer coach should play soccer. And then I don't even know what to do with my day after that. It's all awful.
Here, this is a good one. Archaeologist, someone whose career lies in ruins. You know, because like they dig for bones. Oh, this is awesome. We're going to end with this one, okay?
Okay, last one.
I just got fired from the orange juice factory. I just couldn't concentrate. Oh, is that not a good one?
I like it. I like it. It was almost as good as fudging the numbers one.
Or I lost interest.
I lost interest.
If you guys are still with us, which we hope you are, we're going to jump right into the big picture.
I don't know.
Oh, you just runt that. I was so in the zone, and you just threw that off.
Sorry.
Let's just jump right in the big picture. I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm going to go ahead and give you a fair warning. But we're going to talk about benefits.
Benefits.
So when you are looking at a job or a company and you think of benefits, what are the things that come to mind first for you? When you think of benefits?
So do you want my answer from 5 years ago when I didn't really look at my life?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, so 5 years ago or 10 years ago when I was a teacher, which is basically like this is the cookie cutter job that you have. The benefits that I looked at were, a retirement account or plan or whatever, health and insurance benefits, optical, dental, that kind of stuff. Those were the benefits that I looked at.
Fast forward to 2021. What's your idea of benefits?
2021, the benefits of my job are the how that job fits into my life as a whole, not just whether or not I have medical insurance. It's how everything that job encompasses and how it makes my life better.
I agree, 100%. If you're a business owner,
Do you think you've changed too? Like,
oh yeah. So, because I think, and even when I talk to my parents or whatever, in that older generation, is when they think of benefits, they think of like your retirement. They think of your health insurance. What kind of? Because when people think of benefits, they think of what's in it for me. Like, what do I get out of it that the company provides? And we see so many companies who maybe they can't afford health insurance for their employees, or I mean, there are certain things they want to, but they can't. But they make up in other areas, but they don't call them a benefit. And
and I think it's almost what's a concrete benefit, because all of it is a benefit to me and what the company and the whole thing provides to my life.
Right.
But if it's not bonuses or salaries or, like I said, health insurance.
Non-tangible benefits.
Yes, that's good.
I would say if you're listening to this, and maybe you are, we see this all the time. There are tons of help wanted signs around right now, all over the place.
I am just going to pause for a second and tell you that it still blows my mind. It was like 2 weeks ago, and people are probably like, shut up about it by now. But I went to Taco Bell on a Sunday at like 4 o'clock, and the drive-thru had a car in front of it, and I went to go in the door, and they were shutting down at 4 o'clock on a Sunday because they didn't have enough people. And I'm like, you're Taco Bell. Like, just make slower food or something.
You wanted your Mexican pizza too,
I
didn't
did. I really, I had a plan for the night, and that was my plan, and it kind of threw me off. So help wanted everywhere.
And I think this could be, I don't care if you're a factory. I don't care if you're the mom and pop small business store. I think when people talk about hiring and maybe they say, well, I don't give you any benefits. Well, that's probably not true. So there's a company here in town. They're up toward the northern part of the Upper Cumberland, where they increase their wages, and then they allow.
And it's a factory
and
job.
It's a factory job, but they allow their employees to pick what kind of shift they want to work. They're not saying, hey, we only work 3/12s or what. They get the option. They can do 3/12s. They can do 4/10s. They can do 5/8s. So they get the option to choose their own work schedule, and that's a benefit that a lot of people don't see or don't know, because they think, oh, when they think of benefits, they think of like health insurance and what they're going to get. Like, what's the company paying? Okay. Tangible items. So I will say for me and my job, my benefit is I get to work with businesses. I mean, to me, that's a benefit that matches with my personality for my job. Mm-hmm. There may be other places. I know Jeff has talked about this one company in particular where they pay a certain amount, but they provide you lunch every day. That's a benefit.
Yeah.
When you're hiring people, you need to say, hey, here's our benefit. You get lunch. We provide lunch every day.
I think that some of those things, those benefits, are the company culture is more important than necessarily health insurance, because you could go out and get your own health insurance plan, and it might be a little bit costly, but it doesn't affect your emotional state of day to day.
Yes.
So the fact that I really try to create a fun, supportive, motivational culture throughout the Biz Foundry, I'm hoping that outweighs anything else that we're doing there.
Right.
And for me personally, just a flexible schedule, that's huge to me. I mean, I've seen other jobs that pay more than I make, probably have more quote unquote tangible benefits than what I have, but they're not worth it to me because of the flexible schedule that
we had this conversation off air where it was like, hey, you get paid, $8-9 more an hour, but yet you have a schedule. You got to be in an office. You got to do all these things, or you can take a little less money and you get a lot more freedom. If you want to work from home, you want to work at the beach, like you get all these things. To me, that has to be taken into consideration.
The older I've gotten, the more I've realized that work is one component of
your life,
your business, your job. That's one component, but your whole entire picture, the big picture, look at how I did that, is your everything, how all of those work together, how your family, your wife, your husband, your kids, your parents, your travel schedule, how all of those work together makes your life. And I think some people get so hyper focused on their business or their job or whatever they're doing that they think that everything that's number one priority and everything has to fit into that priority. But I think you can maybe this doesn't make sense, but I'm almost saying like you can put a puzzle together more than one way. Which is not true
well, I mean, I
in an actual
saying,
puzzle setting.
But in your life puzzle, you can put it to.
I guess you can
you
make
manipulate
the puzzle pieces look the way whatever they want. So my career puzzle piece is not going to look the same way your career puzzle piece
Correct.
is, because even just as a male and a female, what takes place in my home, there's different pulls on me, and we've talked about this a little bit before, where you're like, I don't know, daycare names and where like what the kid's schedule is, and I always know what the kid's schedule is, and so that's just a different pull, and so those puzzle pieces look differently for us.
Well, and that goes into finding the job that has the right benefits to fit you. They don't necessarily have to be like health insurance and sick time and vacation. And
so what would you say is, aside from getting to work with small businesses, which really feeds into your emotional state, what would you say is another benefit that you have to your job?
I'm blessed to have an executive director that allows me the freedom to do things that I feel that would best benefit the whole Upper Cumberland. And that is, to me, is very important, because I feel like if we, like recording these podcasts, or we want to support something, or we found a way to help more businesses by bringing in a certain speaker or partnering with people, or to me, that is a benefit of me working where I work, is I get the ability to, if I see something that I think will be great, will be good for the greater masses of the businesses of the Upper Cumberland, we get to go do that. To me, that's a benefit.
And do you think it's that you have the autonomy to kind of steer the ship yourself?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That really allows you to kind of steer the ship and feel more invested into things.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to what we talked in the previous episode with Zach, is that you want your employees to have a little bit of that entrepreneurial mindset, where it's kind of they get to take it and kind of run with it, do their own thing, and make their own mountain to climb. That's the way I feel in my role, is this is my mountain, and I get to climb it however I see fit. Now, do I still have like oversight? Yeah, but we keep them in the loop, and we have a good enough relationship that if I want to do something, I'm calling and we're talking, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what our plans are. I feel like I have a ton of flexibility to do that, and that's a benefit of my job.
I think that's huge, is to give people the autonomy to feel like they're invested into whatever you're doing. And whether it's the person at the top or the person in the bottom, bringing that leadership qualities out of them is so important.
Agreed.
I think I was just having an interview yesterday where we were talking about the fact that anybody can be a leader in the organization, and really putting the people. Somebody said everybody gets to ride the bus, but not everybody's always in the right seat.
Correct.
And so you just, if somebody has a good attitude, if you get them in the right place and you figure out what benefits work for them. And so I think that as an employer, maybe not everybody cares about the fact that they, have health insurance, but
Right.
they like the flexible schedule.
Well, I go back into that, and I talked to a small business owner yesterday, and she was talking about one of their employees a while back, and said, "Man, I wish we had some benefits." And she said, "You get benefits." And he said, "Well, no, we don't. We don't have health insurance." She said, "Yeah, we can't afford health insurance, but your kids, you come to me with your kids getting braces, and we paid for all their braces, and then we took it out of your check at like $50 a week, because if you pay in full, you get a discount or whatever. So like they paid for their kids' braces, and they took it out of their check every week. That's a benefit.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit that you didn't have to come up with all the money, but they take it out of your check, and you don't even notice it.
But as an employee, sometimes you
could be taking advantage. Yeah.
Well, you overlook that. You think, that's just, it helped me out, but it's just what they did. They don't. I think sometimes you don't realize the benefit of that.
But I think that we have this misconception of what benefits really are, and as employers, they should say, "Hey, this is a benefit." We don't make it known of what actual benefits are working here. Like, hey, if you needed a loan of something, like we've got some funds set aside that we will help you for this, or we get your work schedule, or you have a, like we give you lunch every day, or, like, hey, we only work four tens and you're off on Friday, but if you want to work Friday, you can have extra overtime. Like to me, that's a benefit. And
Yeah.
people think benefit in a different way.
For sure.
So guess what we get to do now?
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Some water.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting down. Let's go in. We just got done talking about benefits. Let's talk about the one thing that is, I would say this is a hot topic, wouldn't you?
Hot. Psst, that was fire. Psst, no, sorry. I mean, I'm really working on my sound effects. If I had a board, it would be better, but I don't know.
Luke, can I get a mute button sometimes? I can just.
You like it. It's
hot
good.
topic of money.
Money.
Pay.
Money. Oh, making it rain.
Let's talk about pay.
Yes, paying more.
Paying more. We hear that.
Again, we just talked about how there's help wanted signs everywhere.
So let's go back to the employers from their perspective.
To the small business owners.
Let's just go with the conversation I had a week ago with a gentleman who owns a lawn care business, and he was struggling to get people to come. And I said, what are you paying? And he said, we're paying $10 an hour. I said, well, first of all, would you do it for $10 an hour? No. I said, okay, that's one problem. Two, if you want someone to run a weed eater, I personally see that as skilled labor. And you have to pay more to get skilled labor. And you think it's just running a weed eater. Well, yes and no. You've got to know how to operate that piece of equipment. If you're edging a driveway so that you don't throw a rock in a car, or if you're weeding around flowers, this time of the year they're starting to bloom, and if you cut off the blooms, you're going to have, little old lady Helen out there running around because you chopped her blooms off her flowers. To me, that I justify that as like skilled labor, and you have to pay more.
I think, and maybe this goes back to a little bit when we were talking last episode about customers. I think because immediately I'm like, well, I know how to run a weed eater. I can edge my driveway now and then. Doesn't look great. But I'm not a customer that's going to I'm not your customer. I'm not somebody that's going to hire a company to come do my lawn. Half my front lawn is weeds. It's green, so it kind of looks like grass. So we pretend that it's a lawn. But I'm not your customer then. But somebody who is paying for a lawn care service, it is a skilled position because they want it to look nice. They want everything to be edged,
stripes going a certain way.
Right. Oh my gosh, my neighbor, he cuts it twice in one go round so that he has the crisscross pattern, and he pays for a lawn care service. And so I think that yes, it is a skilled position in that sense and I think that lawn care companies need to look at it that way. People are paying for a service, and so you can probably charge a little bit more and pay your employees more because of your customer base, because of knowing who your customers are.
We have, when we moved, that's probably been 6-7 months ago, we hired a moving company. And of course, you know me, like I'll talk to anybody. And I was talking to the owner of the company who was actually there working, which to me is a big plus. And I said,
do you want to shout out to what company it was?
I don't know if we do. I mean, Jackson Movers.
Yes. Okay. I was going to say they. I swear by Jackson Moving.
Yeah. I
forever.
said we were talking and they were taking a break and I said, how do you get the same group of guys to be here and do this physically demanding work? I mean, this is like, you know what it's like to move. The thought of moving almost, and I'm one of those people who don't have anxiety.
Strap and took my washing machine in. One dude just took my washing machine in.
The thought of moving, I'm not an anxious person, but the thought of moving gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep the same group of guys for a long time doing a physically demanding job? And he said it's simple. We pay them well, and we take care of them.
The thing that's crazy, at least and it's been 7 years since I last moved, but I've used Jackson at least 2 or 3 times in town, and they were incredibly low prices.
Yeah.
For hiring a moving company. And the one time we moved just across town, but they had their own truck that they brought, moved their truck in, and I was just shocked at how affordable they were.
She told me the price, and I said, "You want my card?"
Right? Yeah. sign me up. So it's incredible that they pay well, but yet they're not, as a consumer, it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, they're
Costing a fortune.
right. I'd rather do it myself.
Yeah. See, to me, I think that there's that price break, but also it goes to talk about the company's, just the likeliness of it. There's another company over I'm working with over in Sparta, and they pay well, but they do the whole 410s. You want to work extra overtime on Friday, like there's a lot to it. And he said, if we have an opening, it fills up pretty quick. And I think it goes back to company culture and paying well. If you have a industry and you're only paying $8-9 an hour, like that's you're not going to get it. That's not even the ability, I feel like, because you're in a factory. That's still skilled labor.
I'm going to ask a question here.
Okay.
Do you think, and we touched on this in a previous episode, of just when raising prices, and
Right.
then you can lose some customers because you're bringing in more money because your prices are higher, so it's not at there is a point, a sweet spot. Is that true as well with paying? People will say, I can't afford to pay more because we're not making enough money, but yet if you don't have employees and you're Taco Bell and you have to shut down.
You're not making any money.
You're not making any money. So clearly, if you paid a little bit more, your employees would be there and you could make money. Do you think that all this kind of goes around with the fact that people are bad at math?
Ooh. That's
And it feels like how can
I
you...
think people aren't bad at math. I think people don't take the right numbers and look at them in the correct order. So meaning, yes, let's say you have a 20% turnover rate and it costs you $5,000 per employee every time you got to rehire. If you looked at, hey, if it cost me $5,000 every time I got to rehire, what if I paid someone an extra $400 a month? I'm still going to save money because I'm only paying out $4,800 versus $5,000, and that person stayed, and I got more productivity. And in the long run, you saved money because you're not having to rehire, you're not having to go through the process again. Your quality control may be better because you're not having to retrain. I think people just look at numbers in the wrong order, and that's why they don't see this with the whole thing in pay. So
as a former math teacher, I think people think that they have an aversion to numbers, like they have seasonal, I'm stuffed up, I got to see everybody in the world has seasonal allergies. And there's so
I didn't think you had seasonal allergies, so you moved from Michigan.
I think so many people are like, I'm bad at math. And I think if they change that narrative, they're not bad at math. It's just looking at the numbers in the way that you need to. And it's not actually math to some of this stuff. It's like just kind of paying attention to, like you said, looking at this is how, this hiring process goes or whatnot.
I think you can even go into that. I think that people don't actually know the actual numbers. So people think, oh, well, it's cheaper to hire a new employee. Well, do you know what it truly costs you? Like, have you actually sat down and said, okay, so I gotta pay for...
I think people don't do that. They don't look at those numbers because they're afraid to.
I agree. And I think that if they truly dove into those numbers, they would see, hey, if I pay this person more, if I give them, like I said, $400 more a month, that's $4,800 a year. But if it truly costs me $5,000 to get a new employee, I'm already up $200.
Do we need to teach like a business math class that's...
I think it's something that we
useful.
I think it's something that we need to have a conversation on with a lot of business owners because they don't truly know what it costs to hire an employee. Oh, well, I'm just going to rehire someone. Well, what does it cost you? You got to factor in your time that it takes to either advertise for that job or you got to interview for them,
yes.
And then you're taking away from productivity. Plus, then you've got to retrain them. And I think about like quality. When you bring a new employee, what happens? Sometimes the quality is not as good because they're still learning. They're still figuring things out. Mm-hmm. And so then that also can take a chance of hurting your business because, well, I didn't get it the way I've always had it. And then you lose out on revenue. I mean, to me, I think a lot of businesses don't have that. You kind of
cut that sentence off, but then you lose out on revenue.
Yes.
And that's what is the phrase of businesses, cash is king, right? So if you're not bringing in the cash,
you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. And so have faith that paying more people more, it can bring in the cash that you need.
I would say to business owners, this is not the 60s. We should not be telling people you should just be thankful you have a job. And I think I've heard that from people. They're like, oh, you should just be thankful you have a job. There's how many places if you pass on the way over here, they got help wanted signs up.
How many business meetings have we sat in and people are like, hey, let us know. We're looking for somebody. Let us know.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking, even not just skilled or not just basic positions.
People
where
in
there's
trades.
A sign on the door. It's everybody, marketing
Right.
positions and admin positions and every genre you can figure out. There's people are hiring.
And then you get into like the whole like skilled trades, like the trades of HVAC, plumbing, electrical, construction, and they're booked.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get some stuff done at my house, and they're like, "Oh, we're out 3 months."
Yeah, we are renovating a building on Cedar Avenue, and I don't know. I keep telling people maybe by the end of 2021, but I told them a year ago. I was telling them at the end of 2020. So we'll see.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's a toss up.
And
Don't ask Jeff Brown. That's all I need to say.
Sore subject.
Yeah.
I just think people don't. I think people need to see their employees as a asset, not a liability. Now, yes, I know you're going to get some employees who they're just there for a check. They just are. Some people, they just want to go through the motions, but 95% of people are there because they want to do good. They want to get paid for their skill. You got to pay people. Like, I'm all about paying people, empowering people, putting people in positions where they can't leave because it's so good. You've heard me say this, and I'm going to drop the video. Go to YouTube, look up SAS. They're a software company over in North Carolina, and look at what they do for their employees. You may be a factory listening to this. You can take what they are doing. You can't do it all because understand you have lines that have to be going, but give them the ability, like we talked about a company who said, hey, you can pick what kind of work day you want. How would that make you feel if they said, hey, what kind of work day do you want?
Yeah.
Would you want to work 3 12s and have 4 days off? Do you want to work four 10-hour shifts and you got 3 days off? Do you want to work 5 8s and have 2 days off? You're putting people in positions where they feel empowered as employees to where they're like, oh man, they care about me. They're paying me a good salary or a good hourly rate. They give me the ability to pick and choose my schedule, which is what's best for my family. And we go talk about benefits. What's you may work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and be off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? No, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sorry,
Something like that. Or,
you get the ability to
Right.
be off those certain days.
yeah.
And what's best for your family, and you're putting people in positions where they can't leave because it's
The golden
too good.
handcuffs.
The golden handcuffs, and we've
Yeah.
had that. We've had those conversations.
Well, at the end of the day, let's get some business statistics going.
Let's just get right into it.
Business statistics.
As of 2020, there were 3.7 million small businesses in the U.S.
Okay.
What do you think about that number?
3.7.
31. Oh my gosh, 31.7 million.
31.7 million.
That's off just a little bit.
Just a little bit. That's a lot, but not surprising.
Depending on the industry, how many employees can a small business have? Give me like a range of numbers.
Well, we talked about this before. As the SBA determines a small business is less than 500 employees.
Correct.
So,
Ooh. How many jobs does a small business create annually?
well,
We
should
discussed
I
this on the first
multiply
episode.
31 million times 500?
No.
Okay,
1.5 million.
that's a lot.
Ooh, this is such a good one.
Ooh.
How many entrepreneurs in the world do you think there are?
Ooh, well, how do you determine an entrepreneur? Which you and Zach talked about the other day, but I think that's okay. I'm overthinking. How many entrepreneurs are there in the world? How many people are there in the world? I don't even.
There's 7 billion. So no,
7 billion.
It's not in the billions. I'll give you that much.
7 million.
582 million entrepreneurs in the world.
582 million entrepreneurs in the world.
Think about that. That's a lot.
That is a lot of people. Well, and I think when you talk about how many small businesses, how many of those entrepreneurs, because that's just entrepreneurs as one person, I would think. But maybe an entrepreneur has multiple small businesses.
Exactly.
So,
Ooh, this is a percentage one.
okay.
Blank percentage of small businesses use Facebook for advertising as their leading social media platform.
This percent.
And this is a good business stat. So if you're listening, like this is
72.
no, it's actually higher.
97.
Lower than that. Last guess.
84.
86.
86. Okay.
That's a pretty cool
That's a good statistic, and that's
This
not
is-
surprising. But I wonder how that's going to change. I feel like with
this
all the
is
noise
awesome.
of Facebook, it's kind of people are tuning out to Facebook a little bit more.
So blank percentage of small businesses invest in social media marketing. So what I'm assuming
yeah.
is they pay money to advertise.
Yeah.
What percentage of that?
17.
73%.
Really?
See, that's fascinating.
That is fascinating. I think that's really good to know that people are seeing that there's a value in that.
All right, last one. Last one. Blank percentage of people discover new products on Instagram. Make sure you like, subscribe, as she's thinking of the answer. Click the like button, the bell, the notification. 60%.
60%.
Which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Well, thanks for, we went a little long on this one, but thanks for tuning in to episode 5 of Cash in the Check. I am your executive director, Tyler Asher.
And I am your deputy director, Tiffany Anton from the Biz Foundry. Thanks to Mark Farley and Jeff